Charlie Chaplin, the King of the Silent Screen. Part 1. Introduction and the English Parchment Method. Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome back to English Parchment. We are so happy to have you here today. If you want to improve your English while discovering the lives of the people who shaped our culture, you have found the right place. Today we are looking at a man who was the first global superstar, Charlie Chaplin. Before we start the story of the Little Tramp, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to English Parchment. Your support is the engine that keeps this channel running and helps us create these long-form educational videos for you. Today we are using the phonetic mirroring technique. 1. Listen for emotion. Charlie Chaplin was a master of emotion without words. Even though this is an English lesson, try to hear the emotion in the narrator's voice. This will help you understand the meaning behind the words. 2. Contextual guessing. We will use terms like slapstick, pantomime, and exile. Instead of stopping the video, try to guess what they mean based on the story. 3. The 2,200-word challenge. This is a long story designed to build your focus. By watching until the end, you are proving that you can follow a complex narrative in English for 20 minutes. That is a massive achievement for a B1 learner. He was the most famous face in the world. He was a billionaire, a genius, and a rebel. But did you know that he spent his childhood in a workhouse, a prison for the poor? He didn't speak a single word in his movies for decades, yet people from China to Argentina laughed at the same jokes. How did a boy with no shoes and a broken family become the king of Hollywood? And why, at the height of his fame, was he kicked out of the country that made him a star? Stay with us until the end of this English Parchment special, because Chaplin's message about technology and humanity is surprisingly relevant to our world in 2026. Part 2. The Shadows of Victorian London. Our story begins in April 1889 in London. This was the era of Queen Victoria, a time of great wealth for some, but terrible poverty for others. Charlie was born into a world of show business, but it wasn't a glamorous one. His parents, Charles and Hannah, were both singers and actors in the music halls, the popular theatres of the time. However, the family was broken. His father was an alcoholic who left the family when Charlie was very young. His mother, Hannah, struggled with mental health issues. There were days when there was no food in the house. Charlie and his older brother, Sidney, often had to roam the streets of London looking for ways to survive. Twice before the age of 9, Charlie was sent to a workhouse. Imagine a place that is half school and half prison, where poor people were sent to work for their food. He had his head shaved and wore a rough uniform. This experience left a deep scar on his soul. He never forgot what it felt like to be hungry, cold, and lonely. This darkness from his childhood is exactly what made his later comedies so special. He knew that you can't have true laughter without a little bit of sadness. Part 3. The Young Performer. Despite the poverty, Charlie had a natural gift. He could imitate anyone. He would watch people walking down the street and copy their movements perfectly. His mother, before she became too ill, taught him how to act with his hands. At the age of 5, Charlie had his first moment on stage. His mother was performing when her voice suddenly failed. The audience began to shout and throw coins. Little Charlie walked onto the stage and began to sing a popular song. The audience loved him. They threw more coins, and Charlie stopped singing to pick them up, which made everyone laugh even more. In that moment, he realized that making people laugh was a way to survive. He joined a group of young dancers called the 8 Lancashire Lads. He toured the country, learning the business of funny. He learned how to fall without getting hurt, how to make a funny face, and how to use a cane. By the time he was a teenager, he was already a professional. He eventually joined the famous Fred Karno comedy troupe, which was the most popular group in England. In 1910, the troupe took a big risk. They went on a tour of America. Part 4: America and the Birth of the Little Tramp. America was a revelation for Chaplin. It was a land of energy and opportunity. While on tour, he was spotted by a scout from Keystone Studios, a movie company in California. At the time, movies were a brand new invention. There was no sound, just black and white images moving on a screen. Charlie moved to Hollywood in 1913. His first few movies were not very good. He was trying to be like the other actors, but he felt he didn't have a character. One rainy afternoon, he was told to go to the dressing room and find a costume that was funny. He wanted a costume that was full of contradictions. He chose pants that were too big, a coat that was too small, and shoes that were way too large, and he put them on the wrong feet. He added a small toothbrush mustache so he would look older, and he picked up a bamboo cane and a derby hat. When he walked onto the set, the director started laughing. The Little Tramp was born. He was a man who tried to look like a gentleman, but he was actually a homeless wanderer. He had the manners of a king, but the bank account of a beggar. People loved him because he represented the little guy fighting against a big, tough world. Part 5: The Master of the Studio. Between 1914 and 1918, Chaplin became the most famous person on Earth. It is hard to imagine today, but there was no one like him. His face was on every newspaper, his dolls were in every store, and his name was known in countries that didn't even speak English. But Charlie wasn't just a funny actor. He was a perfectionist. He realized that if he wanted his movies to be great, he had to control everything. He became his own director, his own writer, and eventually, he even composed the music for his films. He was famous for doing hundreds of takes for a single scene. If a hat didn't fall exactly the right way, he would do it again and again for hours. In 1919, he did something incredibly brave. He joined together with other stars to create their own studio called United Artists. He wanted to be a free man, not a servant to the big Hollywood bosses. His movies during this time, like The Kid, 1921, and The Gold Rush, 1925, were masterpieces. In The Gold Rush, there is a famous scene where he is so hungry that he cooks his own leather shoe and eats it like it is a delicious steak. This is Chaplin magic, turning a tragedy into a comedy. Part 6: The Challenge of Sound. In the late 1920s, a revolution hit Hollywood: the talkies. Movies now had sound. Actors were speaking on screen for the first time. Many people thought Chaplin was finished. His character, the Little Tramp, was a silent character. If he spoke, the magic might disappear. But Chaplin refused to change. He believed that pantomime, the art of moving without speaking, was a universal language. He made city lights in 1931 and Modern Times in 1936 without any dialogue. Both were huge successes. In Modern Times, he looked at the world of factories and technology. He showed the little tramp getting caught in the giant gears of a machine. It was a funny scene, but it had a serious message. Technology should help people, not turn them into robots. This is a message we are still discussing today at English Parchment as we look at AI and the digital world of 2026. Part 7. The Great Dictator and Political Trouble. In the late 1930s, the world was moving toward war. Adolf Hitler had taken power in Germany. Many people noticed that Hitler and the little tramp had the same mustache. Chaplin decided to use this coincidence to make a powerful statement. In 1940, he released The Great Dictator. It was his first movie with speech. He played two roles, a poor Jewish barber and a crazy dictator named Hinkle, who was clearly Hitler. The movie was incredibly dangerous to make at the time, but Chaplin didn't care. The movie ends with a 6-minute speech where Chaplin looks directly at the camera and asks the world to choose love over hatred and democracy over dictatorship. It is one of the most famous speeches in history. But this movie made him many enemies. Some politicians in America began to think he was too political, or even a communist. Part 8. Exile and the Return. The 1940s and 1950s were difficult for Charlie. The American government, during a time of great fear called the Red Scare, began to investigate him. In 1952, while Charlie was on a boat to London for a movie premiere, he received a message. His re-entry permit to the United States had been cancelled. He was exiled from the country where he had lived for 40 years. Charlie didn't fight it. He moved to a beautiful villa in Switzerland with his wife, Una, and their 8 children. He spent his years writing his autobiography and composing music. He was happy. But the world felt that Hollywood had lost its soul without its king. Finally, in 1972, the American Academy of Motion Pictures realized they had made a mistake. They invited the 82-year-old Chaplin back to Hollywood to receive an honorary Oscar. When he walked onto the stage, the audience gave him a standing ovation that lasted for 12 minutes, the longest in the history of the Oscars. Charlie was in tears. He said, "Words are so futile, so feeble." Even at 82, he still believed that some things are too big for words. Part 9. Chaplin in 2026. The Silent Influence. Why is Charlie Chaplin still important today, on March 5th? 2026. In our modern world of TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and Instagram Reels, we are actually moving back to Chaplin style. Think about it. Many of the most popular videos today are silent. They use physical humor, facial expressions, and music to tell a story in 15 seconds. Whether you realize it or not, every time you watch a fail video or a funny silent skit online, you are watching the legacy of Charlie Chaplin. Also in 2026, as we deal with the news of global conflicts and the stress of Operation Epic Fury, Chaplin's Little Tramp is a symbol of hope. He reminds us that even when you have holes in your shoes and the world is against you, you can still tip your hat, swing your cane, and walk toward the horizon with a smile. He taught us that a day without laughter is a day wasted. Part 10. Conclusion and the next step. Thank you for spending these 20 minutes with us here on English Parchment. You have successfully completed a very long and detailed lesson. Your ability to follow the life of Charlie Chaplin shows that your English listening skills are becoming very strong. Chaplin proved that you don't need a massive vocabulary to be understood by the whole world, but for us, learning these words is the key to sharing our own stories. Now, I have a question for you. Chaplin said that laughter is the best medicine for pain. Is there a movie or a character that always makes you laugh, even when you are having a bad day? Tell us about it in the comments below. In English, it is a great way to practice your descriptive adjectives. If you enjoyed this biography, please like the video and subscribe to English Parchment. We are building a community of learners who love history and language, and we want you to be a part of it. Check the description for the full transcript of this video. We will see you in the next lesson, where we will explore another figure who changed the world. Keep watching, keep listening, and keep smiling with English Parchment. Goodbye for now.